Welcome into the Paul Farrington Show. Paul, joined by Jack Weinberger, Robert Ziggy Ziegler at the University of Virginia, and producer Zack, the best executive producer in the game, is back with us. What is this, like 3 consecutive shows, Zack? It's pretty impressive from you. Yeah, and he's sponsoring iced tea brands.
No, he's not sponsoring.
You're right.
You're unsponsored.
Unsponsored.
Is that Spike?
The entire time.
It's like
that might change as we go to Green Bay. We may be courting some sponsors in the Wisconsin area.
Yeah.
So if you will be at the NFL draft and are looking for a podcast to sponsor, have a conversation with us.
The networking that will be going on, and we're putting our best foot forward with Jack there too. Jack's gonna be in a suit and tie, walking around, networking with people. Sure, he might be a little buzzed, but at that, I mean, that's the best you get from Jack right there. Silver tongue.
I'll be as pro as I can.
Yeah, professional as he can. Jack, you want to introduce a special guest for the show today in attendance?
We do. So we have my lovely girlfriend, Jaden Herman's over here. If you want to show your face in the camera, it's up to you. She's good. She's gonna pass, but
smart move.
She's here on the couch watching us live.
She's totally there, guys. 100%.
I'm gonna say no one's gonna believe that she's actually here.
So I'm happy to have her here.
You know what's pretty funny about Jack, guys? So if you've been watching the show long enough, I mean, you know Jack's character, but this is the text that we get from Jack. 2.5 hours, right? 2.5 hours before the show starts. I look at my phone, I just get, I'm lost in Harriman State Park. Ziggy's like, what the hell what are you talking about? Jack goes, me and Jaden have no idea where we are. Should be okay for pod. Again, this is 2.5 hours before the podcast. Harriman State Park's 30 minutes away, maybe? 25 minutes away?
Yeah, half an hour probably.
So Jack is questioning he's going to be lost for the next 2 hours. Ziggy goes, if you have cell service, how can you possibly be lost? Jack, service is in and out. We're the only ones inside the entire park. And then he just dips out for an hour and a half. We hear nothing from him. The next message is he's drinking a Long Island iced tea. Says celebrating making it out of the woods by downing some LITs.
And there were some good LITs.
So Jack's in a good mood here. He survived the state park incident. And he's maybe 1, maybe 2 Long Island iced teas deep.
So I
drank
an LIT and then took a green tea shot as we left. So
yeah, so he's ready to go for this episode. He's training for Wisconsin. That's really what it is.
Now we got my claw.
Yeah, you're practicing when you're taking on the entire state of Wisconsin. And Ziggy's had enough already. So today's a mailbag. Today's a mailbag episode. We're going to run through. We got a bunch of questions from you guys. Thanks everyone for dropping in your questions. If you're enjoying the show, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know if you're going to the NFL draft. We'd love to be able to meet up with some people. We're probably going to pick a bar later this week. And on Wednesday night before the draft, the day before the draft, we're going to head over. And if anyone wants to hang out, we'll be there. Jack will be having some Long Island iced teas. Ziggy will be probably bantering philosophy with several people in attendance. And I'll be watching it all unfold. We'll be there for a few hours.
I'll be having some LITs and sending some risky snaps to my girl.
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
What are we doing? What are we doing? This is a podcast.
We're not horny posting on the mate. This is not happening.
So if this hasn't led you to subscribing, please remember to hit that subscribe button, and we'll see everyone in Green Bay for the draft. Carry on.
And let's not forget, because we're doing a mailbag, if you want to ensure that your question is read on every mailbag that we do, you can become a member. It's $5 a month. We've got instructions just below that you can click on to see how to do it. And it's free real estate.
Your producer Zack
occupy a hot spot on this show.
Ziggy CTAing, and producer Zack sounds like he's moving a forkload over there.
I'm shocked that Zach's not asleep yet.
He's eating. He's eating and sleeping. That's what he does on the podcast.
Yeah,
eating and sleeping.
This is insane. This is why I never came to the podcast. I start coming to the podcast and I just get ripped.
You do a great job, though. You do a great job. People acknowledge you do a great job.
You do a great job when Paul tells you what to do.
Shush.
On air live.
Shush. Coming from work, tired, and I'm here to support the group. And all I get is, oh, he's moving around, he's eating, he's doing all this. Get over it. Homeboy's got to do what he's got to do.
Zach, when you're awake, you are great.
Yeah. I think you bring a great energy. And I like this new livelier Zack, kind of snappy. He's not,
Same.
The other Zack just sits there and he's actually.
This Zack comes after us.
Yeah, it's better. It's better.
Yeah,
he brings an energy to the show that it was
2
lacking.
pints of blood I had to get the other day.
Oh, I can't do that. I'm not good. Whenever there's a needle involved, and again, I'm not queasy with needles. It's just when blood starts flowing, I don't like it. Almost passed out a few times.
It's fair.
All right, so why don't we hop into this mailbag here? We'll start off with the first question, and this one's pretty big news that came out a couple days ago. Derek Carr has a shoulder injury that could put his 2025 season in jeopardy.
Oh wait, can we just because this came up, and again, I put this in the chat. I go,
are you drunk?
No. This is just insane to me. Is that I put in the chat that Derek Carr got a shoulder injury. Crickets. I thought Ziggy be the first one to be like, this isn't real. He's whatever it is. I got crickets.
I talked about it. I said, yeah, his shoulders hurt. It looks like the team already knew.
If we go, I have the receipts. Nobody said a word.
Well,
what do you want me to say? Wasn't it? What time did that message come in? Wasn't it late?
No, Zach, that's a good thing because when Ziggy doesn't respond, he agrees with you. It's only when Ziggy responds immediately he disagrees.
Well, I also think Ziggy, correct me if I'm wrong, I thought we were on the phone shortly thereafter and we were talking about it on the phone. So in a sense, we were actually reacting to Zach's message just with each other, not Zach. I believe that happened. I could be wrong.
Well, that's because we know ball.
Well,
that's right.
Ziggy, do I know ball?
Well, let's finish this. So who cares? Derek Carr shoulder injury. Why should I care about that? The guy's washed anyway.
So a couple nights ago, Zack reported, breaking from Blanc Report, that Derek Carr could miss the entire 2025 season. And that, shot off fireworks around the NFL community because the Saints are sitting there with the 9th pick in the draft right now. And I think that pick, out of all the top 10 picks, probably has the most variability in terms of what can actually wind up happening on draft night. But now to insert names like Shedeur Sanders and Jackson Dart, and if you checked out Ziggy's mock draft, Ziggy has at the 9th selection, before the Derek Carr news came out, I believe you had Shedeur going to the Saints with the 9th pick. Correct. So maybe some sort of future seeing from Ziggy. I don't know if you time machine. But right now, the current odds, Shedeur Sanders minus 130 to go to the Saints, plus 350 to the Steelers next. So we're seeing Shedeur.
Oh, please.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, Jack. We're seeing Shedeur a week before the draft. It looked like he was almost a lock to go in the top 5 somewhere in there. Now he's sliding back down, and we're seeing him at 9, maybe falling into the 20s to Pittsburgh, and that would ruin. Jack might just leave the draft. Well, actually, what happens, Jack? If the Steelers draft Shedeur, he comes walking by. You're like, let's say you have a piece of Steelers gear on.
True, I will be there if he gets drafted.
You got to be pumped up, right? I mean, or you just got to be like, it's like, oh, disgusting.
I mean, I think Mason Rudolph's better.
Shedeur walks by you and smiles. Are you smiling back? That's your franchise quarterback.
Yes.
Are you going to look at him and say Mason Rudolph's better than you, you bum?
No, I wouldn't say it to him. I'd
get out of here.
You'd think it?
Yes, I'd think it. I'd be friendly with him. I'd go and talk to him, blah, blah, blah.
Can you imagine Shedeur coming up, smiling, seeing Jack with the Steelers thing on? He's like, hey, man, let's do this. And Jack just goes, fuck you.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I'd be nice. I'd be like, oh, Shedeur,
you're going to get our media credentials.
Yeah, we are. We can't have this stuff coming out.
I'd be like, oh, I'm pumped to have you, blah, blah, blah. I've watched you in college. I think you're great. I was hoping you'd fall.
You'd lie to him?
Yes. And in my head, I'd be like, Mason Rudolph is our guy. It's not you.
Ooh. I think you'd come around on Shedeur eventually over the summer. Well, yeah, you would. I mean,
he's not very good.
Shedeur? Well, you talked yourself into Kenny Pickett. You've talked yourself. I don't know how you're talking yourself into Mason. What is this? Like the 7th time you've talked yourself into Mason Rudolph?
No, because the last time Rudolph was on the Steelers, didn't he finish like 4-0? Took us to the playoffs. Like he looked good.
He didn't finish 4-0. TJ Watt finished 4-0.
Okay, but Watt is still there. Now Pickens is there, or freaking Metcalf's there too. Rudolph's a good supporting cast.
Sanders is just a better player. Basically everything.
How do you know?
Mason Rudolph.
He hasn't played a pro snap yet.
I guess he doesn't know. But if you're talking about who could take the Steelers on a deep playoff run, you're more confident that Shedeur has the ability
This is what Shedeur has done. Right?
Here we go.
Listen to me.
Yeah, that's why you should be more confident that Shedeur is going to be good than Mason Rudolph.
Go ahead,
Mason Rudolph has shown time and time again that he can't do it.
Shedeur didn't make a 12-team playoff. Shedeur played a bowl game against BYU. Came out with New York Giants cleats and got his ass kicked. Yes, I want Mason Rudolph.
All right. That's okay too. I think that's an okay opinion to have. I would rather.
I think Cam Ward's very good. Not Shedeur. I don't want him.
So you think a better chance for the Steelers to have a great season is Mason Rudolph than Shedeur Sanders winds up hitting?
100,000%.
Would you be okay with Shedeur Sanders sitting for a year and then coming in?
I don't want
potentially.
Him.
Okay,
no.
Yeah, you just don't want him at all. How about Jackson Dart?
I don't want the whole thing with Dion too. I just don't want that.
Okay, no, I get it. He comes with some baggage.
Oh, Dart. I love Dart.
Well, Dart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
I think it's really interesting to see. I think it's interesting to see how these odds are moving because I think it's really bad practice for an NFL front office to take a quarterback because their starter is hurt for a year. Like we all knew Derek Carr was not the future in New Orleans before this. And if you think Shedeur Sanders is your guy, you should be taking him whether Carr is healthy or not. And if you don't think he's your guy, spending a top 10 draft pick on a guy just because you need a starter at a position for a year just doesn't make any sense. So I think the Saints do make sense as a landing spot. I think he'd fit really well into a Kellen Moore offense. I can see what they would do with him. So I think it makes a lot of sense there. It's very hard for me to see him going to the Steelers because I don't think Aaron Rodgers wants a young quarterback right behind him. Because then if Aaron Rodgers has one bad game, the fan base is going to be pounding for that rookie to start. It's just true. So I honestly am having a hard time seeing if the Giants aren't interested. And if the Giants were interested, he'd be minus 100,000 to go to the New York Giants right now. Whoever these Vegas insiders are, they know. If the Giants aren't interested, I don't see a team that makes more sense than the Saints by a mile.
Saints, too, you think about where New Orleans is right now and teams that you're not jealous of to be a fan of at this point in time. They're older. They haven't been good for a while. The quarterback's hurt.
Have been telling us for years that the salary cap's not real. Meanwhile, they have to triple down on Derek Carr and 37-year-old defensive line.
Yeah, so this I think Shedeur Sanders would be a breath of fresh air. Even if some people don't want him, just getting that rookie quarterback in, kind of hitting the reset button, at least to a degree, would be great for New Orleans. So I'm expecting them right now to lean quarterback if it happens. From EJ, is Ashton Jeanty the perfect piece to make the Patriots a wild card team? With how Mike had Derek Henry moving, it could be a match made in heaven. So we've heard a lot about the Patriots pick at 4. And Ziggy hadn't taken Mason Graham, which I disagree with. But we've seen Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter there if one of them were to fall. We've seen Will Campbell go there in a few mock drafts. Now Ashton Jeanty being thrown in by our guy EJ. Jack will definitely hate this because he thinks running backs outside in the top 15 automatically bad pick. Ziggy, what do you think of Ashton Jeanty to New England? Any sort of chance that could happen?
I mean, I'm not going to dunk on you too much because I understand why you're asking this. But Mike Vrabel didn't make Derek Henry go anywhere. The Titans' run-blocking offensive line made Derek Henry go places. Now, their pass blocking from the offensive line was not good. But in the prime Derek Henry era, we're talking Taylor Lewin at left tackle. Like, they were able to create big holes for Derek Henry. The Patriots have a terrible offensive line, and their offense doesn't run through the running back. I think you've got something in Drake May. The whole NFL knows you have something in Drake May. Why you would say to Drake May, hey, we're going into a run-first offense when you saw what he did last year with a terrible situation around him. I mean, who knows what Vrabel's going to do? But I think if you're the Patriots, you have a lot of needs on the defense and you have a lot of needs on the offensive line and at receiver. I think that's just a terrible combination for drafting a running back.
I mean, I think that Dallas makes a whole lot of sense for someone like Ashton Jeanty. More so than New England does.
I think it would be, I don't want to say criminal for New England at 4 to take him because everyone has him as the third blue chip prospect. Probably
no, it would be
overall.
illegal.
But
you would have to.
Isn't
I will perform a citizen's arrest.
Isn't the Pats line also terrible?
Yeah, Pat's line is horrible.
The Pats line is like horrendous.
I think they're going to wind up taking Will Campbell, and I think that would be a much better pick than Ashton Jeanty. And Ziggy, they have your boy Ramondre. I like Ramondre Stevenson. I think he's good.
Ramondre Fumbleston. I mean, they need a running back. They need a guy who can hold on to the ball. I get it. You can't draft. Maybe you don't need a great line to pick Ashton Jeanty. Maybe he's a guy who can work with a decent line. If you have a terrible offensive line, you're going to waste Ashton Jeanty's prime years.
Yeah, I think you got to continue to build up in the trenches. That's what Vrabel, I would imagine that's what Vrabel wants to establish first, is dominate up front. And then go ahead and get some more of your skill position players. And remember this draft too. There's deep at running
backs in the 3rd round or the 4th round.
That's get Scadaboo.
Yeah, this is where I think Scadaboo might even go in I think he's going to go in the 2nd round.
No, he's not.
Some people are talking about him, man.
He's a beast.
But
people are. Yeah,
that's the thing too. I'm curious to see. I think Omarion Hampton is a very interesting prospect as we get closer to the draft.
The Tar Heel.
Yeah, if Jeanty goes at 6 to the Raiders, could Hampton go 12 to Dallas? Like, that's starting to be talked about.
I think Dallas needs a receiver more than they need a running back.
I do too, but they're a little crazy there.
I feel like if Jeanty's there at 12 Dallas will scoop him up. If he's not, Dallas will go receiver over Hampton.
Because they should probably have either the first or second receiver
like McMillan
They'll get McMillan or they'll get Golden.
Yeah.
I mean, this draft is so deep at running back. I don't think Cam Scadaboo is a top 10 running back in this draft. And I like Scadaboo as a player, but I think I can name right now 10 running backs in this draft better than him.
Ziggy.
So I think if you're the Patriots or you're any other team, don't do it. What?
Do you think if me, you, and Paul can tackle Scadaboo?
That'll be a nightmare. That would be horrible.
I think Cam Scadaboo is more hard than any other player in this draft.
So we couldn't bring him down.
Where would Jeremiah Love have been drafted? The Notre Dame running back. 1-1?
1-2.
1-2?
I mean, Jeremiah Love's a one-man offense.
It would be Ward, then Jeremiah Love. Jeremiah Love, I think, is the best player in college football next year.
He could be the number one pick next year.
He's the man. I love Jeremiah Love.
He's the next Kijana Carter, except he's actually going to be good.
All right, let's move on here. From Alex, he says, one thing I don't hear people bring up very often when talking about the Packers' pass rush arsenal is the potential for Edgerrin Cooper to feature more heavily in pass rush situations. Do you think his pass rush impact is being overlooked? And if a D-line player takes a big leap in sack production this year, which one do you think it would be? Out of the D-line players, I mean, what's the pick? Lucas Van Ness? Is that what everyone in Green Bay has been saying for a year and a half now?
You know who I'm thinking could take a big step forward in terms of production next year is I think especially if you see Edgerrin Cooper playing better, I think that it could be great news for Kingsley Enagbare and those guys on the inside a little bit. Because once guys on the outside start demanding double teams, Wyatt and Enagbare both, I think, they're good players on the inside. They've got some athleticism, so I can see it working there. I think that as the season gets closer, Cooper's not going to be overlooked. I think he's a very, very good player. But also, I think Cooper is so versatile in the things that he can do. I don't think you want to become a pure pass rusher. So you want to see some other guys take a step forward.
I'm excited. I'm really excited to watch Edgerrin Cooper next year. He was my favorite Packer player to watch last season as it came to a close. Good. Oh, he's all over the field.
He's the argument for taking those Texas A&M athletes.
Oh, there you go. There you go, Jack, with your Shamar Stewart.
Nair on my side.
Well,
Jack, I've always been on your side.
I mean, you remember, Jack, like the Steelers teams that you grew up loving. You always had a couple of those just freak defensive guys who were all over the field.
They were all
tackles everywhere.
They were murderers.
Yeah, they were everywhere.
The whole they were murderers.
The 2009, like what was 08, 09, right? Those Steelers.
Yes, maybe a little earlier. Taylor, Harrison, Woodley. They were murderers.
Like that Edgerrin. They were murderers. The Edgerrin Cooper just gives that vibe of one of those guys running around the field, making plays everywhere, tackling machine. He's a fantastic foundational piece for Green Bay.
I think he's going to be an All-Pro next year.
There's a real shot that happens. Sega says, when will Aaron Rodgers' next darkness retreat happen? Probably summer 2025. Remember, if we get to 100,000 subscribers.
When does my retreat happen?
Right, is that you going on the retreat, right?
I refuse. I'm not.
If we ever get to 100,000 subscribers, Jack goes on a 2-day darkness retreat.
Can my girlfriend come with me on the retreat?
I think it's isolated. Totally isolated.
Absolutely not. She cannot come.
It'll be Jack isolated for 48 hours in a dark room. We'll have cameras up. We'll have night vision cameras up. That could be expensive on the budget, but hopefully if we have 100,000 subs, we can afford it.
I didn't have a say in that.
I'm pretty sure you approved it.
Yeah. You very much approved it.
I'm pretty sure
you approved this when we were like 300 subscribers.
I think you forced me to approve.
I think we had 300 or 400 subs, and someone goes, "Hey, if you guys get to 100K, Jack Darkness Retreat," and you're like, "Yes."
I didn't. I think it was Zack.
It's probably on. I mean, we definitely have it on video somewhere.
I was probably asleep during that time. Don't bring me into this.
It was Ziggy goes on The Bachelor, and you do a darkness retreat, and I think I'd like wear a cheese.
Yeah.
I think you guys made me accept.
I mean, the Jack Darkness retreat would be a great episode. What would you do for 48 hours in dark? Would you just sit there?
I'd sit there.
I think we all know what Jack would do on a darkness retreat for 48 hours. I'm not sure we could show it on camera.
Shut up, Ziggy.
Be rated R. It'd be rated R on YouTube. Is this for kids? No, not for children. Okay, let's see here.
Shut up, Ziggy.
From Bandon, he says, what player could each NFC North team draft that would instantly make them the favorite to win the conference? I mean, that's a pretty big claim here, Bandon.
There is no player that you can draft that turns you from not a favorite to win the conference to favorite to win the conference.
I mean,
that's just not a thing.
In terms of division, even in terms of division, I don't think there's anyone that can be drafted that would make me pick a team other than Detroit or Green Bay. Like I as great a draft as the Vikings or Bears could have.
If Green Bay gets Abdul Carter because he hit a bong right before the draft, I'm taking the Packers. But otherwise,
whoever drafts Shamar Stewart, he's winning the division.
I just Shamar Stewart, he could be unbelievable. He very well could be unbelievable.
There's not one singular player who I'd say can be drafted and it would alter a division.
Or I mean, I don't think any team in the league could draft someone where I would change the conference for me. The conference is a huge claim.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I mean, division you have a shot, but like think about the best team in every division. Is there anyone that, let's say, the Commanders could
conference?
Take? Yeah, but we'll amend it to division. Let's say, is there anyone the Commanders would take where if you like the Eagles, you would flip the Commanders over Philly? Probably not. Like if you like the Eagles, if you like the Chiefs, you like the Ravens, like these are all teams that are pretty set in stone, I think, to be your pick to win the division.
Even really good rookies, you just don't know what they're going to do year one. Like for wide receiver, for instance, generally, if a guy's going to be successful, they put up at least 500 yards their rookie season. But for a rookie receiver, putting up like 600 yards and a handful of touchdowns is a pretty good rookie year for most guys. I mean, most guys aren't Jamar Chase, but that's not the sort of thing that elevates a team from good to great.
I guess it depends. Like, what do you if the Steelers, if you're picking Baltimore preseason or whatever, and you think Pittsburgh needs a quarterback and they draft Jackson Dart to 21, but it's something like that.
Nothing would change.
Nothing.
But I do think you could say in terms of the NFC North, if the Packers or the Lions go and if an edge rusher falls and they get an impressive edge rusher pick, the Vikings get a cornerback. Chicago has a couple.
Bears trade up for Abdul Carter.
Bears trade up for Abdul Carter, or even Ziggy promoting his mock draft. Go check out that mock draft if you haven't seen it. A lot of people really enjoyed it. Said it was the right amount, the perfect amount of realistic, and also just fun. Ziggy, you did a great job with that. But if Ashton Jeanty fell to the okay, if Ashton Jeanty fell to the Bears, that could be kind of a fun pick. So the North, we said this on the show multiple times now. They have the flexibility to kind of take whoever they want, all four of these teams, and that opens the door to a really exciting draft for all these fan bases. Let's move on here from what am I looking at here? From T-Lam. He says, you guys are going to be at the draft, right? I was hoping I could say, hi, I'm a big fan. As Ziggy said at the top of the show, we will be at the draft, and we're going to pick the place to go where we can have the meet and greet. I said that at the top, but send in some bar recommendations. We have a few we're looking at right now. But we'd love to go to a bar after dinner on Wednesday night and just hang out for a couple hours, say hello to as many people as we can, and then we'll drag Jack home, the corpse of Jack.
It's funny. I was saying that Paul and I will have our small handful of fans want to talk to us, and there'll be a mile of a line of people waiting to talk to Ziggy.
Oh, it'd be like
the millions and millions.
It's the Beatles. Yeah. But it's like George and Ringo are right here.
Paul and I, we'll have our select few of fans, and the line is
and
at the door.
Ziggy's like combined Paul McCartney and John Lennon. It's people are going to be all over the place. Just to get a glimpse, right? Say they saw Ziggy.
And once they meet us, they'll go over to Ziggy as well.
No, there's no need to come over to us if you meet Ziggy.
Yeah.
We'll be in line to say hi to Ziggy, and we'll be on the trip with them.
Yeah.
Ziggy is the man.
People prepare Ziggy to meet a lot of people this weekend.
Yeah, Ziggy might walk out this trip with a girlfriend too.
You never know.
That seems improbable.
Then we can double date Ziggy.
JK Zarada says, and JK Zarada is a member. JK is always extremely nice to us when we do our lives as well. Donates a lot to the show. So JK says, what is a must do for each of you during your trip to Green Bay for the draft? We were actually laughing reacting to this question right before we came on. We don't really know what there is to do in Green Bay. We haven't been before. So, again, any suggestions people have. I've always wanted to go to Noah's Ark in Wisconsin. That's not in Green Bay. But
my must is in Milwaukee, going to Sobelman's. I know we've gotten some people comment when I shout out Sobelman's because they like it too. It's a very good spot. And I intend on being back there before we leave Wisconsin.
I mean, for me, it's the only thing in Green Bay I really want to see is Lambeau Field. Paul, I remember you and I were going to broadcast a game there when we were undergrads.
Yeah, that would have been sick.
But the draft's going to be inside and around the field. So I kind of just want to walk around and like see the place.
Me too. I just want to see Lambeau. That'll be like I have a feeling that it'll be like going to Fenway for the first time a few years ago, and you're just in these iconic stadiums.
You know what it is? It's a crappier version of Heinz Field. That's what it is.
Piss off the Green Bay fans right before we go to Green Bay. I wonder if our friend Mello, I think was it Sobelman's that Mello used to own? Was that Sobelman's?
Sobelman's it's a big Milwaukee spot.
Yeah, no. Mello had a bar in Milwaukee. We'll have to ask our good buddy Mello.
Maybe.
It might have been Sobelman's. I like this question here. Ziggy from Jack Schwellenberg.
That's somewhat close.
I mean, that's not far off. You related to any Schwellenbergs?
It's not that I know of. I'll go on 23andMe.
What's the ceiling for JJ McCarthy and the Vikings next year? Obviously,
I think this a realistic ceiling.
18-0.
You can always win the Super Bowl, but what's a realistic ceiling for them? I think they have a chance to win the division and win a home playoff game. I think that's as much as if that happens. I think the season will be an outstanding success. I think going on a deep playoff run with a rookie quarterback is very, very hard. I mean, we saw Jaden Daniels do it last year, and JJ McCarthy's functionally a rookie, but it very rarely happens. If we're hosting a playoff game next year, I think that's pretty darn good.
I think the ceiling is probably finishing second place in the North, the number 5 seed.
I mean, he might get, but it's totally possible that the defense carries us and that Justin Jefferson carries us.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're a playoff team at a ceiling, but yeah, I wouldn't say past.
The thing about the NFC North is all these teams, the expectations are really high, but they're all volatile. The Lions lost so many pieces inside the building. The Packers have been really up and down. The Bears, who knows what goes on there. The Vikings, JJ McCarthy could be anything. So I feel like any team could win this division, and Vegas feels the same. That's why I think it's possible. If the teams around us are worse than expected, Vikings could just sneak in there.
I get what you're saying with the volatility, but I like the Lions, to me, I'd be shocked if they did not win at least 10 games. They have a hard schedule, but 10 feels like the floor for Detroit.
I mean, like,
and Green Bay, Green Bay also feels like at least 10 wins.
I know we're talking
That's
about
just not true.
I mean, I think Green Bay and Detroit feel like 10-win teams, and the Vikings floor, the Packers floor might be 9. Detroit,
no team has a floor of 9 or 10 wins. There's no team in the NFL that's
I
true.
feel very confident that the Lions are a very, very good football
Even
team.
talking Vikings ceiling, that's very hard to beat out Detroit and Green Bay for the NFC North.
The Vikings, I guess I can't say the Vikings ceiling is like 10 games.
I mean, odds on the Vikings are like 20% to win the NFC North.
Yeah, and you could just think back to last year, right? We're coming into the year and we're all saying, hey, if Sam Darnold's good, this team could be. They had 14 wins.
Yeah.
So JJ McCarthy is good,
and they're better than last year.
The team itself is better. I guess the ceiling. Yeah, the ceiling is probably a 12 or 13-win team, but that would be given the schedule this year,
a high ceiling.
That feels like you're extending the ceiling up a little bit. But I can see this being I agree with you, Ziggy. Winning the division would be the ceiling. I think a more realistic ceiling is closer to what Jack said, getting that 5 seed, probably on the road for a playoff game. But they're one of the more exciting teams and one of the more. I would say that they have a wide range of outcomes for this season. Quick one here from Joe. Do you want Kirk Cousins to return? Ziggy was talking about Kirk Cousins. You want him back badly, right?
I don't want him back badly. If we can get him for free, I'll take him.
No, okay.
I think he'd be a fine backup. I'd rather have him in the building. If the options are Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers, I'd much, much rather have Kirk. Kirk ain't going nowhere to be a backup. I think he's perfectly happy being a backup in Atlanta. I think he wants to start somewhere. In Minnesota, he's not starting, so I don't think he really wants to come back.
I love Kirk. Everyone knows that, but I'm ready for the McCarthy era here.
I mean, we abandoned Kirk, but like if JJ McCarthy loses a leg week 1, bring Kirk back.
From Mercury Road, a member. Mercury Road always has an interesting comment. Always great. If Jordan Love sold a cologne called Love Drip, how many seconds would Ziggy last before he shook it up really hard and splashed it all over his face? and with love drip all over his face, barely able to see, how many more touchdowns would he throw this year than Caleb?
We just didn't have to read that. I mean, I guess we did have to read that because it's a member, but I'm not even dignifying that. We know what that question's getting at. I'm not dignifying it by
Ziggy with love drip all over his face would be
Please
hard.
don't say that anymore.
Would be.
We all know what that means.
It would be hard to resist.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine right before the Ziggy Bachelor episode, he's in the mirror and Ziggy's probably unbuttoning a couple shirts, putting on his cologne, and just walks out and they're like, "What's that? What? You smell amazing. What is that?"
It's love drip.
Ziggy's done. He's done.
He has his headphones off.
Okay, we will continue moving on here. From Destino, he says, agree or disagree that Matt LaFleur and Goody should be on the hot seat. They've proven they can be good, but haven't proven they can be great. And the gap seems to be widening rather than narrowing between Green Bay and the rest of the elite teams. This isn't Carolina. Oh, I like this. This isn't Carolina or Jacksonville that's just happy to be relevant. It's Green Bay, and the standard should always be excellence.
I'm sorry. The man has won double-digit games in 4 of his 6 seasons, and the one of the 2 that he didn't win double digits, he made the playoffs. You cannot ask more of your head coach, especially transitioning from Hall of Fame quarterback to rookie quarterback. You can't ask more than consistently making the playoffs. Like, I'm sorry, and this isn't the Steelers either, right? This isn't a team that's like barely squeaking in. This is a team that's winning 11 or 13 games. No, I don't want to hear anything about a hot seat. Brian Gutekunst has built one of the most talented young rosters in the NFL. LaFleur has consistently generated an elite offense, and he found his guy on defense. No, hot seat. What are you talking about?
I love how every show you throw shots at the Steelers. Like, you can pick any other team, but it's just, you just throw shots at the Steelers.
There's no team like the Steelers that consistently sneaks into the playoffs when they don't belong. Name one other team that does anything like that.
The Seahawks.
The Seahawks have missed the playoffs, 2 of the past 3 years?
Yeah, they're like the last seed off.
No, the Steelers are in there every year, and they always just get a blur.
You are in there every year, which is pretty amazing.
We get there every year. That's pretty crazy.
It's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
It's the same story.
But the Packers aren't that, right? And even the first year of Jordan, I get that last year was disappointing. I'd be disappointed too. Even if it's the Super Bowl champ, losing to them sucks. But I'm not going to look at a talented young roster that LaFleur is consistently generating double-digit wins out of and say, yeah, we should replace that guy with whatever coordinator is available next.
I think you're totally right, Ziggy. And this feels to me like a snowball effect of what's kind of been going on LaFleur's entire time in Green Bay. I think that this frustration goes back to Rodgers and the inability to get that second Super Bowl, where, I mean, they lost a couple heartbreakers with LaFleur at Lambeau Field during MVP seasons for their quarterback that pissed off the fan base. And it rightfully so. You had horrible playoff performances from teams that were capable of winning the Super Bowl. And to me, that frustration was mounting in Green Bay a lot. And then it kind of got reset when Rodgers left and you were kind of venturing into this new world with Jordan Love. So for a season, everything got put on pause. And when that season, at the end of the year, when our show was actually kind of blowing up for the first time, and Love out of nowhere is playing MVP level football, I think that paused everything. And it was hey, like look at what we're pulling out of nothing here, out of thin air. And last year, coming into the season, you had those expectations for the Super Bowl again. That's Green Bay fans wanted the Super Bowl. Whether that was a little too lofty, it's a separate discussion. But Packer fans wanted to go to the Super Bowl.
At least wanted a playoff win.
At least a playoff win, maybe a division win. And then when you had the disappointing season, it's 11 wins. Amazingly, 11-win season with your quarterback being hurt was a disappointing season.
Going 1-5 in your division.
1-5 in division. They never quite felt the same in terms of that magic. I think that was just that same feeling of frustration that they had at the end of Rodgers of, man, like we have this team here that we really believe in coming into the season, and they're not getting the job done. So I do get why they're frustrated, because it feels like they're wasting some really good teams. But when you step back and really think about it here, it's exactly what you said. You're going to the playoffs a lot. You're winning your division a lot. Right now you're in a position where you had a 1-year turnaround from a Hall of Fame quarterback.
So you had a half a season turnaround. It just doesn't happen in the NFL.
LaFleur hits the open market, and he's getting picked up immediately. He's a great coach. Gutekunst is a great GM. Producer Zack is falling asleep during this.
You think coaching matters?
Coaching, that's separate discussion. All right, let's continue on here. We'll hit another member question.
Are you asleep, Zach?
No. Producer Zack, you okay over there?
We're good.
Was that monologue? I thought that was a decent monologue.
That was good.
I thought that monologue was absolutely worthy of cutting me to the full shot. But I'll sleep at the wheel.
I looked over at the end of it because I felt pretty good during that.
Defending Zach, what time, Zach, are we waking up tomorrow morning?
5.
Oh, no. Producer Zack works very hard.
If the show were tomorrow, then I get why he's tired.
Today I woke up at 4.
Oh.
Get good.
Great counter. Jackson Harv. No. Producer Zack works very hard.
He does.
Producer Zack. We're just messing.
Yeah. Although I think he's run out of steam for his fieriness is starting to. Yeah. he just zoned out again there.
Well, let's go to the next member question.
Jackson Harvey.
It's gonna be a 70-hour week for me this week.
We need the subs. We need the subs for producer Zack. Yeah. Jackson Harvey. Who do you see as a better player, Maxwell Hairston or Trey Amos?
Trey Amos.
It depends on what you're doing.
Right? I don't know who Max Hairston is or Trey Amos.
He's the Kentucky guy. The blazing fast Kentucky corner.
So I think Hairston is probably the better corner overall by a little bit.
Yeah,
the thing is they're completely different players. Like Trey Amos, and I don't mean this in a bad way, he's a monster in zone. I worry a little bit about his physicality, his ability to play press. He sometimes makes mistakes in man-to-man. But in zone, he's got incredible instincts. Like, I think he will be immediately one of the better match quarters players in the NFL because he's good enough man-on-man that you can make that work. Meanwhile, Hairston, I mean, you want to see him put a little bit more together, particularly on the tackling. But he's a physical guy. He's great at playing press. Like, I see what's up there. So I think that thanks, producer Zack. I think that I'm assuming you're a Packers fan if you're asking this. I think that Amos is a much better fit for the Packers. I think that's who they're going to have higher on the board because I think he fits better than the LaFleur system. But both of them are exciting prospects and could be very good.
Great answer there, Ziggy.
He's good, that Kentucky kid. I'd probably go Amos, though. 3 questions left. From McLovin. He says... All right, I'll read his whole thing. He says, back from work... Let's come up with a good one here. Will we ever get Jack's girl as a guest? Diversify the cast a bit. She's here. Yeah, I mean, she's here. She's here. She can come up. She didn't come up.
No.
Come up. She didn't come up.
You don't want this.
She didn't come up.
I mean, you can come up. Yeah, 100%. You can come up and say hi.
She's coming up and say hi.
Of course. Yeah. I guess there is something.
Be a repeat of the Warren Farrington incident.
She said, if Paul says yes, then yes.
This is something important. I guess
next to me. She poked her head in the camera.
I guess as far as proving existence, that was important.
Yes.
Because like we could have just sat up here for a year and claimed that Jack had a girlfriend, but that was a big moment for the show.
She just it's proof right there. That was
but before the show, I was wondering how it's possible for Jack to get a girlfriend, but I figured it out.
Uh-oh. Oh no.
So yeah, it makes sense.
What is it?
Well, what did Packers fans say about Jair Alexander, Paul?
He never shows up.
The best ability is availability. And if you were looking for available.
No, if you're looking for available. Okay. I think
I will show up to play every time.
Shut up.
Awesome. This is great. Great banter. Joey's Woodshed. He said, oh wait, I'm sorry, I was on McLovin. Now that Chicago got rid of their defensive-minded head coach for an offensive one, do you see Chicago's defense regressing a bit in swapping out for a stronger offense? Do you think Caleb can break some of his bad habits that caused several games to only have 4 yards by halftime?
No, he stinks.
Eberflus might have been a defensive head coach, but he was not coordinating a good defense for them. He was just bad at everything. He put that I'm not trying to light into the guy too much, but he put that dorky hits thing up on the board, and nobody seemed to buy it. He didn't work out for them. Caleb Williams, I think it's going to take some time, but the Bears put him in a bad spot last year. That offensive line and the way that offense was run was not designed to help Caleb Williams get out of his bad habits. I think he's going to go a lot better next year.
Oh, I think with Ben Johnson, Caleb will vastly improve.
I think he sucks.
And having a leader in the room will make such a big difference. Eberflus was one of the worst leaders in the NFL.
And I do really like that you're listening to Ben Johnson. I'm sorry, I was trying to remember the name there. You're listening to Ben Johnson talk about the process of getting Caleb Williams ready, and it really is a baby steps situation here, where they're stripping this down to the bare basics and going from ground zero essentially with Caleb. And I think that's gonna what is it, the eyebrow raising?
They're stripping Caleb here down.
I do, but I really think that's necessary for Caleb, who has all the talent in the world.
It's necessary for Caleb to strip down.
All right, you see, I get yelled at like if I go this route, I get the eye rolls, hold the headphone off. But anyway,
Ziggy, what would you do?
All right, I've completely lost it.
If you wake up at 3 a.m. and Caleb Williams is over your bed, hovering over you?
I'd probably freak out. No one knows this Caleb Williams. You're like, what up, Caleb? Why are you here?
So,
what would you do, Paul?
I'm sorry for all the things I said about you on the show.
What would you do if he was shirtless over your bed?
Shirtless now. I'd probably be like,
we're not talking about Caleb Williams like this.
I would probably, I'd ask him if he wanted to come on the show. And that would have to be, there would have to be a trade-off of like, I will not call the police, but could you come on the show?
Yes, that's fair.
So Caleb, I do believe that Caleb's going to improve a lot this year. I think Ben Johnson's saying all the right things. He just sounds smart when you listen to him, and we'll see if that applies over to the football
field. He
field.
doesn't sound like? He doesn't sound like Matt Nagy or Eberflus, who would just like say stuff.
There's an organization.
Listening to Bears press conferences, those guys, it sounded like they had no idea what they were talking about 100% of the time. I've never heard that from NFL head coaches before.
No, there's an organization that Ben Johnson has when he speaks. It sounds like there's an end goal, and I'm not going to rip on Nagy or anyone or Eberflus, but
no, and it's not. You're not a great head coach because you're awesome in press conferences, but like it's a completely different situation.
But when Kevin O'Connell talks and he's talking about the Vikings plan, it's very detailed, and you can work through it where you say, I believe in what this guy's leading us towards. I think Ben Johnson has a bit of that when he speaks, there's a weight behind it, and he has the results from Detroit to back it up so far. And it really seems to me like this Bears offense is going to, hopefully for them, take another leap forward. As far as the defense goes, I also think Dennis Allen coming as defensive coordinator, they added some pieces on the D-line. I think they might get another one in the draft. I really think the Bears are in a good position to play a lot better. Again, I'm not sure how great the record will be given the NFC North schedule this year. It's really like going against you guys in the AFC North. It's no cakewalk. And again, having to play the Vikings, Lions,
smoke the Bears.
Yeah, having to play the Vikings, Lions, and Packers twice a year is not fun. But I think the Chicago team will be much better on the field next season. Paige Beckers goes number 1 in the WNBA draft. Paige looks pretty good.
Was that a question?
No, it's just I pulled up ESPN. I was trying to remember.
Thanks for dating the show, Paul.
Oh, sorry. You're right.
My girlfriend is 10 times harder than Paige Beckers.
I can't.
What?
I'm not commenting on Jack's girlfriend, but I will say Paige Beckers looks very good.
No, we're not.
Sorry.
We're not doing this.
I have a crush on Paige Beckers. Let's continue. Yeah, this is a good time for Bay Shore Park. Says, when are you guys going to put the crack pipes down? I don't know when that's gonna. It's a ridiculous show.
No time soon.
And we have 2 left from Joey's Woodshed. Will the Lions make the playoffs this year now that they're without both of their coordinators? I have to say
means
yes.
nothing.
Jack,
it doesn't mean nothing.
It means
something.
still
going.
Here's the thing: their players are awesome.
The hardest thing to get in the NFL is not a coordinator that like knows some things about football. It's a person that can actually lead a locker room. Right. This is why many of the best coaches in the NFL they're not necessarily like geniuses in the lab coordinating an offense. They're guys who can lead. They're going to have a great culture. They're going to have a competitive team. They're going to have all the same players. They'll be healthier. There's a reason they've got the highest win total in the NFL next year.
Mm-hmm. I feel good about Detroit. It's a really talented team. Yeah. They'll be back. Last question from the Nightman Cometh 93. Is there a ceiling to Jordan Love that prevents him from getting to and winning a Super Bowl? We all see the upside, and yet throwing a touchdown or an interception on any given play seems to be who he is as a player. Is he Mahomes light or a better Jameis Winston?
I mean, I think Love could do it. I think Green Bay could do it. I think he's good enough. I just think it's unfortunate with last year was his second year, right?
Second year starting, yeah.
Right, and Detroit was awesome. And like anomalies.
And he had the groin and the knee.
Yeah, he was hurt, and there were anomalies. Detroit, Minnesota, 14 wins each. Philly was great. I believe he's good enough to do it. Like, it's not impossible he does it. It's just he needs a bit of a break where one of these other teams in the conference aren't, you know,
the Eagles and Lions
like a
both had
Monstar.
super team feels last year.
Yeah.
Winning a Super Bowl is so hard. I think the fact that Tom Brady and Pat Mahomes have won a whole bunch have made people sort of forget how hard winning a Super Bowl is. Oh, like you're lucky as a quarterback. If you're a really great quarterback to win one Super Bowl, there are plenty of all-time greats that have never even been to the Super Bowl. So also it's Jordan Love's second year. He's played 2 years of football. I think it's way too early, given the amount of good play we've seen out of him, to say there's a ceiling that will stop him from ever reaching a Super Bowl. I mean, I don't think Joe Burrow or Lamar Jackson have ceilings that will stop them from ever winning a Super Bowl. I don't think Josh Allen is a ceiling that will stop him. They're way further in terms of their number of playing years and haven't done it yet. Will Jordan Love win a Super Bowl? I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and say that he's for sure going to win. But saying that he has a ceiling that stops him from doing it, I think just doesn't fit with the player we've seen.
I'm also willing to put a little bit more into the injury last year than it sounds most Packers fans are. I think that groin...
If you're a fan, you don't care. You just want to win your games.
Yeah, that groin and knee injury that he had, that lingered throughout the entire season. But what's the best case analysis on Jordan Love here? It's go back to that 10 games to end the season. When you talk about the ceiling the player has, well, we've seen his ceiling be 18 touchdowns and 1 interception, right? 2 interceptions over the final 10 games of a season. Mm-hmm. That version of him is the top 5 quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
Now, Christian Watson's out this year. We'll see, like, if the receiving room stays healthy. There are some questions in Green Bay, but I'm willing to almost wash a good portion of last year because of the injuries. And I think that Jack's points also can't go unnoted, that there were a couple teams that had unbelievable years. The Packers still won 11 games. The teams you said were the only teams they lost to.
Who beat them? Right.
The only teams in the league. So,
and that's not going to be a repetition type of thing.
Yeah.
The only teams in the league they lost to?
They lost to the Eagles,
the
they
Vikings,
lost to
and the
Lions and the Bears and the last week of the season. And the Bears last week.
That's right.
But I do look at Green Bay and the team itself. Like, Love can elevate them to a Super Bowl team if he plays great. The team itself needs to play better as well. Because what was the dangerous thing about Detroit and Philadelphia and the Vikings? It was that they had, at times, up until Detroit lost its entire defense, they had swarming defenses. They had playmakers all over the field. Like, those teams were really good. Mm-hmm. And I never got that sense with Green Bay that the team was really good. It just felt like they had...
The team was solid.
Yeah, they had a solid team. And they need... we've said it a million times, they need a bunch of dudes to look in the mirror and say, I need to be better. And if they do, they can be great.
And Jordan Love is one of those dudes.
Yes. All right, that'll wrap up today's show. We'll have one more, and then I don't know what the schedule's going to be like next week yet, because we're going to be having a lot of packing, a lot of moving around before the draft. So probably one more episode, at least one, before draft week.
But there will be content coming from the draft.
Oh, yeah, we're very excited. And this is another thing, if you've made it to the end of the episode, let us know some ideas or what you'd like to see us do at the draft, because we're trying to come up with all of those. So any
we're hoping we can get some behind the scenes stuff so you can see a little bit about what it's like for us to be at the draft. We think that'd be really cool.
We're vloggers.
If you got ideas.
We're YouTubers. We are. We have Jack going around.
We're vloggers.
Yeah, Jack's going to be going around.
A day in the life of Jack Weinberger on the road.
Sounds good to me.
Jack eating his waffles at the hotel.
Yep.
Jack drinking a beer with fans.
Yep. Anything you want to
24/7 camera on Jack. Rated X.
I've got some special tea selections for this trip.
All right.
What? Look, I've got some Green Bay inspired tea.
Can you bring some? Can you bring extra for Jack and I to try?
Yeah, bring some extra.
Of course.
Thank you. All right.
No, I'll get my favorite layer. I've got a great Nepalese white that I'm going to be bringing. The third layer is the best, but 2, 4, and 5 are also really solid. A good, great mouthfeel. Do you like a great mouthfeel in your tea?
I don't even know. I truly don't even know what that means.
You can guess what a grape mouthfeel means. It's not that.
I do. I don't think we need to know what a great mouthfeel.
I don't mind a nice mouthfeel.
Yeah, I'm excited to try the mouthfeel that you have, Ziggy. I think that's gonna be
all right.
Again, when we click on this, it's not suitable for children.
All right, let's close the show.
We'll see you guys later this week.